Hey guys, it's Allison. So today's video is gonna be like a mix of things. Today is like a little book video. So I'm going to tell you guys what I read in May, my TBR list for June, and what I am currently reading. So we are just gonna go straight into it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Comment down below any videos you want me to see the next. Subscribe down below if you're new to my channel. Turn on post notifications to get an update every time I'm posting a video. And let's get started. Okay, so the first book that I read in May, that this is going to be like one of my top favorite books next to Archer's Voice. I will always talk about this book. If people like romance, this is a book that I will talk about. And this is Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. I love this book. Let me tell you guys. Do you see how many tabs I did? Oh my goodness. Like, this book is literally the cutest. This is a fall romance, and this is from like the summer of high school into college. And some people say it's like a triangle, a love triangle, but I don't think it really is. And there's also like a twist at the end, and then everything gets shaken up, which is the craziest thing. I'll read you the back. It says, "For years I've dreamt of what college life could bring, and while some things change, there are always one constant. Didn't matter how wild I allowed my imagination to run, it always led me to the same place in the end. It led me to him. My future was clear and he was it, until suddenly he wasn't. Now I'm shell of who I was, on a path too blurry to follow, and now I see no way out, no way up. They say first loves last forever. That's exactly what I'm afraid of." Long story short is, there's a girl. She is in love with her twin brother's best friend, and they're like a whole group of friends. And you know, like, you guys are friends for like the longest, so it's like weird if you guys end up dating. So she never really reveals his feelings to him until the end of the summer, and like, he doesn't reciprocate, so she just ends up moving on. She ends up with the quarterback of the college that they end up going to, and then the other guy ends up getting jealous, and then like a whole spiral things happens, you know. So yeah, this is one of my favorite books. I feel like I would read this again and again. Yeah, I would definitely recommend this book. I gave this obviously a 5 stars. I forgot to say I gave this a 5 stars. Look, and I match with the book. That's so funny. Sorry, my hair is a mess. I just got back from work and I needed to film this video, so there you go. Next book I read is Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. I gave this a 4.5 stars out of 5. I read this book in my random TBR prompts video. I'll link that up below, and this was pretty good. This, compared to Invisible Girl that I read, Invisible Girl was not it for me, but this was better. From the beginning, I feel like you would know who it was, but then you don't know why. So like, my theory was like half correct. You can tell who the person is that took the girl, but then you don't know why the reason was. So like, it goes back and forth timelines with the current and the past, and it is brought together, and it's just really creepy. It kind of gave me You vibes from the show. Creepy, chilling. Like, I don't know, when I was reading it, I felt so creeped out. Let me know if you think he was actually genuine at the end. If you guys read this book, you would know what I mean. It was actually really surprising how everything played out in this book. This was like on my TBR list for a while. Like, a lot of people had like recommended this book. Like, this was like one of the first Lisa Jewell books that everybody would talk about, but I ended up getting The Family Upstairs and Invisible Girl. So the next book that I read was in my random TBR prompts as well, and I read The Love Wager by Lynn Painter, and I gave this book a 4 stars out of 5. I didn't give this book a full 5 stars because I forgot what it was. I don't know, something wasn't giving. I don't remember what wasn't giving. I did not write that down, but I loved how they met each other in the beginning of the book, and then they had like a little relationship, and then they were trying not to be together because they were trying to like see who could get a partner first, and then they ended up falling in love with each other. Like, when they were with each other, they would text each other, which was like really cute and modern. Their relationship was cute and everything, but I don't know what it was that I gave this book a 4 stars. Maybe like more precise in my ratings, because I'm not very picky on books. I end up rating stuff like 5 stars really easily, so I think maybe that's why. But this was a really cute book that I read in my TBR prompts. I read 3 books, and this was the 3rd book that I read, and this is Happy Place by Emily Henry. I got this book when it first came out, so I did not have anybody like cloud my judgment about the book. I didn't hear any spoilers, ratings, nothing, and I literally literally gave this book a 5 stars. This book I would read again. I did not tab it, sadly. I always say I should tab it. This is one of my favorite books. I love how this book was different than other like romance books, because this couple was together but then they weren't together and they didn't tell their friends or family that they weren't together anymore, and somehow they just ended up in one space again and they just like ended up falling in love, back in love with each other. And then I love the friendship in this. I love like the character growth in this book. I just love this book in general. My favorite quote from this book is definitely, in every universe it's you for me, even if it's not me for you. I was like, yes. This book like was very relatable at the time I was reading it, and even though I don't like pink, I really love this cover, and I love how it just shows all the characters that were in the book. I would definitely get more Emily Henry books in the future. It was my first Emily Henry book, which is surprising. It's just a good read. So 5 stars for this book. So the last book that I read in May was The Lost Girls of Willowbrook by Ellen Marie Wiseman, and this had been on my shelf for the longest. Like, this is one of the first books I've ever picked up since back in the fall. So I finally got to it, and I gave this book 4 stars, and I was trying to guess what would happen at the end. It was just crazy. It was like a back and forth thing. Like, the description in this book of the asylum that the girl ended up at was the craziest. Like, it just made you feel disgusted, which, good job to this author that it was very descriptive and it was very eerie. This book was about this girl. She had a twin sister, and she thought her twin sister had died like long before, and then she found out that her sister was actually put into a state school, an asylum. So she just figured out that her sister went missing, so she went back to the asylum to like go help look for her twin sister. And as you guys know, what do you think happened? She gets taken in thinking that she's the twin sister, if you know what I mean. So all these things happen, and I knew like some parts of the book what was gonna happen. Like, I knew who was bad, and it was just the craziest thing ever. I don't know why I knocked it off a star. I don't know. I don't remember why, but yeah, this was definitely a crazy book. The current book that I am reading for the month of June so far is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I don't know if you guys saw my YouTube shorts, but I finally picked this book up, and I'm finally gonna give this a chance. My coworker actually ended up convincing me. Like, everybody was telling me to read it, and then finally I was like, fine, I will give this book a try. And it's definitely going good. It's just that I'm reading so slow for some reason. I do not understand why. I'm on chapter 9, and so far it's going good. If you guys don't know, I don't read fantasy at all. I read romance and thriller, and that's like my genre. So this is like the first ever fantasy book that I'm actually like. If you guys don't know the premise of this book, so far what has happened is this girl, Fiery, I don't know how to say her name. Let me know down below. But she is a hunter, and she hunts for her father and her 2 older sisters, and she ends up killing a wolf. And the wolf is part of this like land of fairies. I think that's what they're called. Magical creatures. I don't know like the specifics, but basically what happens is she killed one of them. The boss, or like one of the high people, came and took her and was like, you are gonna live with us forever in this kingdom, and you will never see your family again. But they're treating her well. They gave her like a nice room, all the food she can eat. She is living the good life compared to how she was living back at home. And so far she wants to run away back home, so she's trying to figure out how she's gonna do that. But at the same time, she's like falling in love with the guy in a way. Like, he's like mysterious because they have masks, so like you can't see their face. So I don't know, it's pretty interesting. And I just made this bookmark. I'm gonna make more bookmarks. This is just a rough draft of the bookmark that I made, and I laminated it at school. Shout out to my coworker. She let me use her lamination machine. Props of working in a school. But I just put booked and busy, and then at the bottom I put mystery and romance, and then in the quotation in the bottom is the quote that I said earlier from The Happy Place, and it says, in every universe it's you for me, even if it's not me for you. So this is just a rough draft of my bookmark, so that's just in here. And I'm definitely gonna create a better one, and I'll show you guys in future videos. I feel like this is definitely gonna take up most of my time in June, so I'm not gonna really put my goals set high. So if I do end up finishing this book, I will definitely continue reading the series, probably, because I don't want to forget what I just read, obviously, but then at the same time I would definitely want to get into a thriller book, which I think I would get into. That's a good question. What book would I read? I would probably pick this one, because this is one that's like out of the ordinary in my bookcase. This is Not So Perfect Strangers by Ellis Stratton, and this is a new book that came out not so long ago. And yeah, I would probably read this one. This is not a thriller. I don't think this is a thriller. I think this is fiction, honestly, but I might be wrong. But this is called Mirror Girls. This is Twins Separated at Birth, Reunited by a Curse by Kelly McWilliams. This sounded really good. So one of those two, or if I do go back into romance, I will either read Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark, which is another series, or The Deal by Elle Kennedy, which is also series. So I don't know if I'm gonna get into a romance, because they do have series to go along with it. So let's see where my mind is after I read this. But this will probably take me a while, since this has been taking me since, like, I think it's already been like a week or two that I've been reading this. So I just have to have my pace faster, read faster, not read faster, but you know, just get to the end of it to see if I really like it, if I want to continue the series. Like, I would continue the series. I don't want to just read the first book and not have the rest of the books, you know what I mean? So I don't know what's gonna happen. But that was everything for this video. Comment down below if you have read this and what you think about it. But I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.